session, and likely we'll replay it on 1623 and maybe elsewhere. So just be aware of any comments that you make here. And thank you for joining us. Since we're already 20 minutes into this, I'm just going to make my introduction very brief. We're happy to have you back on the line. It's great to see you all again. The idea here is to hear from our municipal leaders and, of course, the mayor. Just give us a fantastic update. I see Sal's on the line, and I know Michelle Brown is on, and Elizabeth is on, and a number of us, all of us really are focused on reopening, which the mayor addressed well in her remarks. And so rather than myself going on, I know, Sal, you have to leave in a bit for you're already double booked on a call this morning. Do you want to give us an update as to what's going on from your perspective?
Thanks, Ken. The mayor covered a lot of ground. But one thing I do want to drive home for all the businesses is I provided a link to the governor's reopening plan, and Maria is on this call again as well. And the bottom line, what we want to tell people is that, please pay attention to the checklists that are on there, the plan, the self-attestation form. Those are all things that are expected to be completed by the time you open. You don't need to submit it to us. You don't need to submit it to the state, but you do need to have those handy, and they need to be posted. These are very important. And I think the mayor had said early, before some of you jumped on, the goal is not to shut anybody down. The goal is for everybody to open up safely. But these things are very important. And some of the feedback Ken and I received from our reopening task force business subcommittee is that there may be essential businesses that are already operating that don't know they need to complete this. So we're doing our part to try to spread the word. But that link is up there, and I just can't stress the importance enough to look at that and to go through it. And there's some helpful hints there. They might be things that you're not thinking of for your business, such as, making sure that, you're not using the same pen for customers that are signing something, or if you have multiple entrance and exits to your business, keep them, one entrance, one exit. There's a lot of helpful information on there. And, the mayor just texted me. She's asking me to let everybody know that, even though it's Memorial Day weekend, we're not doing any ceremonies for veterans here in Gloucester, Rockport, Manchester, but we are, I think we'll be doing something with a video of 1623. And the reason why, obviously, is we want to keep people safe, and we don't want the at-risk population to get all in one spot. So that's mostly what I have. Please check that out. And I'm sure everybody knows by now that, phase one is manufacturing, construction, and houses of worship are able to open. And on the 25th, there's a list of others, such as hair salons and barbershops by appointment only, offices with less than 25% capacity, science labs, pet grooming by appointment, car washes, exterior only, recreational outdoors, remote fulfillment of retail with curbside pickup, and also health providers. So that's what's going to be able to be open on the 25th. So that's it for now. I'll stay on for a little while, but any feedback you could give it to Ken, and he'll run with that. Thank you, Ken.
Ken, sorry, you have to unmute yourself.
Hear me now? Sorry about that. So I was just saying, a number of you have signed in on chat, and if you haven't, go ahead and do that, your name and your business. And so we have that. Hey, Tony, do you want to say anything as our 2020 board president?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Ken. And it's great to have the mayor on this week. And Sal, once again, thank you for your guidance, really helpful. Yeah, just thank you again for everybody for joining this. I do want to bring up one point. So I'm Blue Shutters Beachside Inn, part of the Tourism Council for the Chamber, and one of the things we've talked about this time of year, we traditionally do a spring mixer for the tourism community. It's a chance for us to sort of kind of kick off the summer season with a sharing of information and updates. And while this is not a traditional summer season for us, we still need to do that spring mixer now more than ever. So we're going to do that sometime in June, date TBD. So just keep your eyes and ears open, particularly if you're a member of our visitor-based economy. And it's open to anybody who's interested in some of the things that we're going to be discussing. We'll talk a little bit of what we do here and do a roundtable from the different communities as to what the plans are for reopenings and share that information, and also get some updates from individual businesses and organizations as well. So spring tourism mixer, a virtual spring tourism mixer, will happen sometime in June. And one of the things we're talking about is doing some kind of an online forum that we can kind of keep this going as well. So you'll hear more about this going forward as well. We want to be able to sort of keep the lines of communication open amongst the tourism community. So anybody have any questions, email me, email Ken, but keep your eyes and ears open for that. With that, hand it back to you, Ken.
Thanks, Tony. Let's see. Let's stay with Gloucester for a little bit, and then we'll roll through the other communities. I'd like to hear from you as well, Maria. As hopefully most of you know, Gloucester has formed its own reopening task force. We've met 3 times. Sort of the business segments of that have been divided into 3 subcommittees. Sal and I chair sort of a very broad business subcommittee: manufacturing, engineering, office space, salons, retail, covers a lot of the waterfront. What has been separated out from that is tourism, and Elizabeth Carey is on the line, and she chairs a tourism subcommittee, and the other subcommittee on businesses is restaurants, and Jim Destino chairs restaurants. I wonder if you could give us a quick update, Elizabeth, on the tourism subcommittee.
Sure. Sorry, I'm Michelle Brown today for whatever.
I see that.
I'm not really sure what happened there. Yeah, we've been running industry-specific meetings: restaurant, retail, lodging, and art, culture, attractions. Yesterday, Jim Destino and I had the restaurant conversation, and we had about 37 people on, so it was a nice, hearty group of folks from all throughout Cape Ann. Most of the questions were unfortunately unable to be answered because, as we all know, those details for restaurant openings are not yet being done. But as the mayor stated this morning, we are taking some copious notes, and we're sharing that with the committee, the task force committee, because some of the questions are good. One of them yesterday was entertainment was brought up, and so no live music is available to be promoted or offered at restaurants because singing obviously exposes some opportunities for virus spreading. But one of the questions was, what about poetry reading, or what about comedy? So we didn't have an answer for that. So Jim's going to go back and do some research on that. So it's been great. Tomorrow we have a retail meeting, and if anyone would like to join the retail meeting, please do so. I think it makes sense to have the retail meeting because they'll be part of phase 1. Next week, we're scheduled to have an art, culture, and attractions meeting, but we're going to postpone that because what we want to do is make sure people are communicating among themselves, but not waste people's time, especially if there's not enough information coming down from the governor. So that because they're phase 3, we'll push that off a little bit. But as the tourism task force chair, it was clearly our first week of meeting with the city, and the second week meeting with the city were 2 totally different roles that we were able to sort of adjust. And the big takeaway for me with the tourism piece and all of our responsibilities with the city's task force is the governor has done such a great job with all the details that the city is really suggesting that we follow that, and we encourage you to follow that. So Sal just talked about the templates that are there, the certificates, the self-certification forms. What we thought we were going to have to do from the city's perspective is now really well done through the state task force committee. So my job is to kind of make sure that people get on that link and follow the rules and have those sheets available for what's required by the governor. So it's been a great opportunity. Again, these meetings are so valuable because there's so much takeaway and people are thinking outside the box. And so thank you for the opportunity, Ken, and I enjoy working with you and the team here.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks for your great work. Michelle, you want to tell us what's going on in Rockport? I know that Rockport has formed a task force as well, and Peter was as part of that meeting.
Ken, Michelle asked me to step in and update for the town. She had to jump onto another call.
Sure.
But what's happening in Rockport is the selectmen and the Board of Health are now meeting jointly 2 times a week. The selectmen are joining the Board of Health's regular Thursday meeting, and the Board of Health is joining the selectmen's regular Tuesday meeting. So they're meeting again this evening. At Tuesday's meeting, the selectmen voted to relax the restrictions that they had put in effect for Bearskin Neck about 6 weeks ago. Most of the businesses on Bearskin Neck are retail, and so still are not officially open even for curbside. That starts Monday. But many restaurants have reopened for the season and are offering pickup and takeout. And so that's basically those restrictions have ended that were in place for a while. The town wants to, I think as Elizabeth pointed out with Gloucester, is trying to align with the governor and with the state's guidelines kind of across the board. So the other, Rockport through the town administrator, through Mitch, at the direction of the selectmen, have set up a small reopening advisory group. It met for the first time on Wednesday. Michelle and I are in kind of an advisory role with that group, but it has Charlie Brackett as a restaurant representative. It's got Christina Wilcox as a retail representative, and it's got Dan Duffy as an innkeeper representative, together with the police chief and the representative of the Board of Health, who's, I think it's Beth, she's also on the Gloucester group. I think it's Elizabeth McCarthy, a really excellent resource. So that's what's going on. The beaches in Rockport is the last thing they talked about. They are resident, the parking is always resident only for the 2 parking lots for Cape Edge Beach and Long Beach are resident only and have been, they're basically going to be reopened to residents. Front Beach is technically resident only, but it's not enforceable in effect with its own parking lot. So they're working to try to just manage that. And the only other issue that they're going to be decided tonight is whether they can open the public restrooms on a limited basis. They're trying to get that ready. It's more of an operational question than a policy question at this point. They'll probably be open on a limited basis with frequent cleaning and, again, trying to follow the guidance that's coming down from the state. So that's where we are with Rockport at this point.
Peter, thanks a lot. Thanks for that update.
Sure.
Maria, you've offered to do a kind of a condensed update on the governor's task force plans. Are you able to do that?
Yeah, Ken, only if these folks feel like it's worth listening to. I don't want to, we all have information overload.
Yeah.
And I have it was a 29-page slide deck, and we condensed it to about 7 or 8 pages. I don't know if that's helpful.
I think if you can do it in 5 minutes or so, I think it's worthwhile to do that, Maria. I'm
Okay.
trying to see it.
Sure.
Can you share your screen, or do I need to do that?
You need to give me that permission.
Okay. I can share my screen, but I don't know how to give you permission.
Okay, so where it says, do you see up top, it should say participants
Yep.
and giving people permission, or you can probably come over to my name on your group chat and probably do it that way.
You know what I can also do is, I gotta make you the host.
Okay.
And you should be able to do it from there.
Promise to behave.
All right, we'll hold you to that. You try now?
Yes, okay. Yeah?
Gotcha.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself. So I'm the Northeast Regional Director of the Massachusetts Office of Business Development. So I work for Secretary Keneally. He's the secretary, we work for the Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development. But more famously, I'm Sal's wife, Sal DiStefano's wife. So yeah, so I'm here, and I'm gonna do this quick because I also have another call, and you guys have huge advocates. I'm going to just tell you, Cape Ann, besides the fact that I live in Rockport, you've got chamber directors and members, and you've got Sal and the mayor that think that I work for the city of Gloucester. So you guys have a lot of advocates. The first slide is just, many of you have seen this already. It's the, it's just the governor issued a safer at home advisory. So the people at high risk for COVID-19 should stay at home except for essential errands. All residents are required to cover their face when they cannot maintain 6 feet of social distance in public. If an employee is not wearing a mask, ask why they aren't wearing it. If it's for medical or religious reasons, you need to make accommodations in the workplace. And also too, we need to mention that phase progress can go backwards, right? So if we're not doing and following guidelines, we could end up taking a step back, which is the worst thing that could happen. So our earliest start date for phase 2 would be June 8th. The guidance for industries on the reopening plan lays out when your business can reopen. I'm gonna put those links before I leave the call. Ken, I'm gonna put these links all in your chat, okay? Restaurants, hotels, accommodations, including short-term private rentals, are scheduled for phase 2, but are under active consideration for additional guidance to be provided before phase 2. Restaurant and hospitality, and there's a restaurant and hospitality subcommittee. Gyms and fitness studios are scheduled for 3, but are under active consideration for early opening for personal training and outdoor classes. Outdoor recreation, beaches are 12 feet in between blankets in phase 1, reduced to 6 feet in phase 2. Phase 1, medical limited services, high priority preventative care, pediatric care, additional services in phase 2 and beyond. Okay, so here, hang on a second, sorry. Okay, so here we're just talking about that, more of what you've heard, the social distancing, the hygiene protocols, the staffing and operations, making sure we're cleaning and disinfecting. Ken, I'm also going to send this to you, okay? So folks can have that. I'll email it to you because I know I'm going through this really quickly. Hang on a second. Okay, so office guidelines say that workers and contractors must continue to telework if feasible. This limits to 25% occupancy, max occupancy, or 25% of business typical occupancy. Businesses may exceed occupancy for public health, public safety, or where critical. Log in everyone who comes in contact with the site to enable contact tracing, including temporary visitors, for example, those doing material drop-offs. Reconfigure worker common spaces, break rooms. You don't want people sharing computers, desks. You need to stagger work schedules, minimize use of confined spaces. For example, elevators, control rooms, vehicles, there should be one at a time. All workers in same spaces must wear face coverings. It's okay to not wear one if you are socially distant, but in a confined space, masks are required. There's really good online, there's some really great sector-specific guidance. Again, I'm going to send you, I'm going to put those links in the chat. For example, there's hair salon guidance, which is really good guidance for other businesses to review. Okay, so businesses must complete a written control plan prior to opening or by May 25th for essential businesses. There is a control plan that you can access. There's a template and posters. These must be maintained on the premises. They don't need to be submitted to the state. So there's compliance attestation poster. I will give you that link. Businesses are required to sign in and post in a visible area. Businesses are required to sign in and post. Sorry, we've got my 9-year-old sharing the space with me. Okay. A best practice, employers having employees attest that they received the information, have been trained and will abide by the protocols. This isn't required, but it's a recommendation best practice. Taking temperatures and answering the 4 CDC questions are also not required, but some employers are opting to do this to protect themselves and their businesses. Enforcement. Everybody's asking about this. Okay, so it's jointly enforced by the local health departments, by the state DPH, the division, and the Division of Labor Standards. The goal with enforcement is to educate and promote compliance. If you'd like to report a business or workplace that's not compliant with the mandatory workplace safety standards, you should reach out to the local Board of Health. And I can give you that information too. And there are links to, links to that as well. And then I also pulled the transit slides out of the larger PowerPoint, the larger deck. So folks that are needing to go back into work and they're going to be riding the subway or being on the bus, you're required to wear masks. You have to make efforts to distance. And riders are going to be asked to avoid riding the transit if they're exhibiting symptoms. A lot of this is common sense. And then there's information about buses, subway, the different phases. And again, I'm going to make this slide deck available to you. We're asking employers to stagger shifts and to reduce rush hour demand on public transit. Hygiene and protective supplies, we've had a lot of questions about that. There is a portal. You can, right on the bottom in green, you can access supply vendors on mass.gov/reopening. If you have supplies to sell, those can also, you can also go on to that page. We have a reopening page and we are asking folks to submit questions. Those are going to help form our FAQs so that you can have an answer faster if you can just look it up quickly. FAQ, so we're encouraging workers who test positive for COVID to disclose it to the workplace employer for the purposes of cleaning and disinfecting and contact tracing. If the employer is notified of a positive case at the workplace, the employer shall notify the local Board of Health in the city where the workplace is located and work with them to trace unlikely contacts in the workplace and advise workers to isolate and self-quarantine. Testing of other workers may be recommended consistent with guidance and/or at the request of the Board of Health. And so I'm also going to put in some preparing your small business employees for the effects of COVID-19. And I will also add the employer unemployment and unemployment insurance benefits as well. All of those links, which I will put in the chat. And this is the final slide is my contact info. Okay, so you can reach out to me directly. You can reach out to Ken, however you want to do this. And I'm gonna stop sharing, Ken, so I can put the things up.
Awesome, thanks very much, Maria. There is so much information there. And again, if you haven't been on mass.gov reopening, there's a link right there to all of this information. You should spend some time with it because all businesses are going to need to put together a COVID safety plan and self-attestation. So take a look at that. The templates are there. The information's there at least through phase 1. And more will certainly be put out there as the other phases become better defined. Thanks a lot for that, Maria. Could you also give me, make me the host again if you're able to do that? If not, no
Okay.
worries.
No, I have to because I have to jump off this call. So I'm going to try to figure out how to.
Okay. While you're doing that, so I think that's all we have. Let's open this up and hear from you all. What's going on with your businesses? How you doing? Do you have any questions that we may be able to help you with either now or who wants to go first? Lori, go ahead. I'm going to unmute you. Hold on.
Okay. I just asked in the chat, all of the links that Maria just put up, are those going to be in your email as well?
I'm happy to send out an email summary, and
Okay.
yes, I can absolutely do that, Lori.
Okay, because I was trying to copy and paste and it's really hard. So thank you.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll put it out there. How are you doing, Lori? Are your curbside only, I assume?
Yes, I have been, and people can call in and get candy and stuff. It's going well as it can go, and we're getting ready to reopen.
Yeah, good. Who else?
I'll say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Cindy Hendrickson, Cape Ann Foodie Tours. I just had a great conversation with, I think I've been saying, with the New England Food Council of Foodie Tour people. And, you know, we're being optimistic, but we're looking at this year as more of a way to promote our business for next year. We've been fortunate to have groups that have changed, you know, booked in next year, but we're talking about doing virtual tours. We're talking about developing tours, which I think is great, that include all of our communities, because so many people start in Boston and then, you know, they might go to Cape Cod, then they'd come up to Salem and Gloucester, Newburyport and Portsmouth and Portland. So we're kind of excited about that and working together to promote all of our, because we have all positive things to say about each other. And, you know, we've all recommended each other. And that's been a lot of fun for all of us. Everybody's really passionate about the history and the culture of all of our communities and of course the food. So that's awesome.
And I think I saw, Cindy, tours look like they're in phase 3.
Right.
End of June, early July timeframe.
Yeah.
Are you thinking at all about doing anything in that time, or you can let the summer go?
Yeah, we're kind of, you know, again, promoting it more, you know, trying to get fall. I have people booked for August, September, and October now, and that's encouraging. So we're just hoping that those months open up. If people call and we can do something, we're going to, you know, work with the restaurant and the retail shops, and we might even put a package together like Salem Food Tours did in Boston, where they do like retail products as an organization that does it, and they'll ship it out to people along with our companies do, and, you know, discount on tours so that when they do book and come up here, that there'll be something to look forward to. So I think if we all work together, it'll be, you know, something to feel good about. And then I think I think once business starts, and like the Beauport Hotel, we do a lot of business with that because they have a lot of corporate groups, you know, a lot of, even in the wintertime, you know, they have people that come in and for retreats, that kind of thing. So, you know, if we get business all year round and eventually everything will come back to normal, I think it'll be good. I think we'll be able to stay in business, you know, hopefully for the long term. I think we'll be okay for the long term. So, hang in there.
Thank you for sharing. Hey, Lauren, can I put you on the spot? First, we'll get to you, Jamie, but I'll let you know I got a call this morning wondering if the Cape Ann Motor Inn was open. You want to tell us your plans?
Well, we're not open. And I don't know what I'm doing about, I'm still asking the mayor questions about the parking lots down the street from us. So I don't know what's happening. I've closed my parking lot because I was getting damage and people throwing trash and congregating. So I closed it. And a lot of people aren't happy with us. I feel bad. But anyway, we're not open. I'm still waiting for more information.
So you would be allowed to open in phase 2 is my understanding, which is a few weeks away. Are you looking to do that?
Yes. As soon as we can open, we want to open.
Okay.
So we're preparing.
Good. Thank you. Jamie, you were going to say something?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I work for Misswood Events at Endicott College. We're an oceanfront venue on the Endicott campus. And, while we're all working from home, we're doing our best to reschedule, postpone, or modify, all of our summer events. But just something I wanted to mention. So, of course, we had a lot of weddings planned for this summer. Leaving couples with maybe new 2021 wedding dates or later in 2020. But we want to extend, once we're able, an opportunity for any couple that was, looking to get married this summer to come on our property just to exchange vows by the ocean. So, pending, following all guidelines and things like that, it's something that we would love to extend. So if any of you know anybody that, had to postpone their wedding day, but still wants to make it official this summer, please send them our way.
Okay, I'm getting married, was getting married.
Awesome.
I guess so. Maybe I'll take you up on that.
Yes, please do. Yes, and I can send put the best email in the chat there if you'd like.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Sure.
Great.
Thank you, Jamie. Who else? Anybody else want to share? Rafi, I see you're on. I know that you had wanted to say something earlier, but the connection was not good last week. Are you able to join us now on YouTube?
And Lisa Smith, I think, wants to speak.
Sorry, guys. I'm back.
I'll let Rafi speak. I just wanted to say one thing about the veterans.
Yeah.
Veterans Day, Sal mentioned it. 1623 Studios will be airing the Cape Ann Veterans Day ceremony. It's virtual. It goes live on Channel 12 at 11, and it also goes live on our Facebook page at 11 a.m. And also Barry O'Brien sent over a virtual Essex Veterans Day ceremony, and that'll be on our Facebook page at 9 a.m. and 10:30 on Channel 12. So we'll be honoring veterans here on Cape Ann on Memorial Day virtually.
Very nice. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for all you guys are doing. It's really, your updates are fantastic. And I don't know if you knew this, but Corey is actually going to help us this afternoon with an Irish sweepstakes drawing, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, there's one from Les Bartlett. He did a history of, he's doing the historical things of Cape Ann, and he has one about the chamber 100 years ago, and they had this old REO Speedwagon that they drove down to Florida. They went to the White House with Visit Cape Ann, motels open, and I'll email that one to you because that's a really fun one.
I would like to see that. Our 100th anniversary is coming up in 2 years.
Yeah, so
That's
I thought of you when I saw that.
That would be fun.
Okay.
Rafi, can you go on? I'm not hearing you if you're saying anything. I don't think the connection's going to be good enough. All right, we'll try it again. Anybody else?
Ken, Lori Russell from Top Dog was on the call earlier and I think had to jump off for one or two other different Zoom meetings that she's involved with, but she had a couple of questions. One was when restaurants can if there's any particular date for restaurants, and I think Maria answered that question. So I think the next phase for restaurants is phase 2, and it's the earliest date possible would be June 8th, if things progress as well as possible. So I think that was the answer to that question. But she had a question about vacation rentals that as to what phase or what, if anything's being discussed around that. And I know maybe Elizabeth has some updates on that. I know there's a special group that's looking at that for the state as well, at tourism businesses generally. But does anybody know about vacation rental policies right now?
I do not. Do you, Elizabeth?
I do not. That's, we're waiting on that. As you know, the governor, when he laid out the original plans on Monday, there was a conversation that he stated during his presentation that tourism and lodging committee within the state was being formed. So a new task force for lodging specifically. That's so no news. There was some rumor that the first to open in the lodging industry field would be motels with efficiencies. So you drive up to a particular doorway, you have one door going in, there's no lobby, there's no elevator, there's no hallways. And with an efficiency, you get to bring in your own food and cook it within the property. But that's all we heard. We don't have any more details on that.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything? Scott, always at a loss for words. Mir.
I will try to limit my words as opposed to the mayor who did not.
Happy to have you join us, Scott.
Good morning, everyone. Just great to see you. Jamie, thanks for that great information about Mistlewood, which is an absolutely beautiful place. My goodness. If you haven't had a chance to get to Mistlewood, go. It's beautiful. Find a reason. I just threw up on the chat that Aberdeen Home Care is hiring. We have now finally accomplished gathering enough personal protective equipment, PPE, so that we could actually take COVID positive patients. With trepidation, but we will. Our existing clients would come first, of course, but if others come to us and want our care and we're able to staff that case, we would do it. But what I put on the chat was that we're hiring certified nursing assistants, home health aides, even nursing students and nurses, both LPNs and registered nurses. If anyone is interested, please go to our website, the About tab, and then you see the Careers tab right there. I did put the link right in the chat. So anybody who knows somebody who might be interested in applying with Aberdeen Home Care, please go there. I know, a lot of home care agencies are really strapped for qualified care right now, and we're one of them. So if you know anybody, please go to our website and apply for a job with us. So again, great to see everybody. Thanks for giving me a chance to say hello, Ken. And that's it. Oh, one last thing, and I did get a chance to say this to Sal in a chat. Big shout out to Sal DiStefano. He made a terrific connection for me with Jeff Beanie, the CEO at Gloucester Bio. Terrific guy. I actually had a chance to meet with him, socially distanced, but terrific connection there. So thanks very much. Another great thing about these fantastic Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce meetings that you're doing. Ken, Peter, Olivia, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you for leading our Health and Wellness Committee. It's such a great committee and so important for Cape Ann and for everything that you guys do at Aberdeen. I will say the topic of hiring is huge right now, so as we're getting more calls, not only from employers, but also for people looking for jobs. And so a way that we're going to try to connect people is, as a member, you can actually post your openings on into your member account, and that comes up on our website. And so, Scott, if you haven't done that, I think you have done that actually. You may be our leading example, but we're going to encourage all of our members to do that, to try to connect people who are looking for jobs with folks who are hiring. And more as the businesses start to reopen, that will be the case. Hopefully businesses or people that were with the businesses will come back. but that's not always going to be the case. So there certainly will be openings here shortly. So thanks for that. Okay, we're going on 11 o'clock. Anybody else want to offer any final words?
Yeah. Can I just ask a quick question? I missed most of the call, but the contact tracing, did anyone say anything? Like, is that happening in Gloucester yet, or?
There is a plan for contact tracing in Gloucester. I don't know what, I can't tell you exactly what it is off the top of my head, but I know that the health director, Karen Carroll, has that information. And Heidi, if you'd like to reach out to her directly, you should do that, or I'd be happy to connect you.
Okay, yeah, no, Carol sits on the committee, so I can ask her. I can ask Karen what they're doing around that.
Exactly.
It seems like you've got a lot of the guides and things like that out there, so I don't know if that would be a good thing for the rest of the community, what they know about it.
I'm not sure what you mean.
No, just that, because I know there's been things that come out that they say, make sure you answer these calls and things like that. So if people are concerned, I'm getting this phone, call or whatever. Okay. Thank you.
Good question. It's absolutely a key part of this whole plan is to track the metrics and track new cases. It's the only way we're going to control this thing.
Ken, if I could just weigh in on contact tracing, there's a great resource, a great program that the state's launched, and the governor's really emphasized this on a couple of occasions. We've been including it in our newsletter as well. It just links to the whole program and details about where the calls are going to come from. They're hiring too. It's a statewide program. There's a partnership. I think Vince has got this up on our website now, but we'll be happy to share the link with anybody who wants that.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for that. Well, we've done it. It's we're an hour in, a little over, and so I want to thank you again for your sharing everything that's going on and for all your terrific work in getting us to this point. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend, so get out there and try to enjoy it. And for those of you who may have bought an Irish sweepstakes ticket, we are doing the drawing this evening at 7 o'clock. We're giving away $20,000 and put us in a better frame of mind going into the weekend. So thank you all, and have a great Memorial Day weekend. We'll talk to you next week.